Legend has it, Ben Mandelkorn came into this world with something to say, and he said it loud and clear.
Well, that's right. I have no objection to that. But the point,
And some things just don't change.
out from left field, he's never been involved in the Jewish community.
But the fact is, when Ben Mandelkorn speaks, people listen, and they have been for as long as most can remember. Ben was born in Paterson, New Jersey in 1914. As a boy, Ben was eager to learn. In school, he was near the top of his class. The horoscope in his high school yearbook described him as an errand boy who wants to be a bookbinder. Maybe. Who will be an impersonator. The bookbinder reference stemmed from the fact that Ben worked at a local bookbinding plant after school. As far as becoming an impersonator, well, that was likely the result of his fondness for drama. He received rave reviews for his portrayal of Prince William in the senior class presentation of The Queen's Husband. His fellow students were so impressed with his acting abilities that those who wrote the class prophecy predicted Ben would someday own a theater in New York. While he liked theater, what Ben really wanted to be was a lawyer. But after 2 years at Dana College and 2 years at New Jersey Law School, he realized he was more interested in sociology and psychology. So he went back to Dana, which had now become part of Rutgers, to finish his undergraduate degree. Several years later, he received a master's degree in social work from the University of North Carolina. World War II broke out and Ben found himself in the Army. During a 4.5-year period, he rose from the rank of private to captain. During that same time, he married a Rose. Rose Goldstein became Rose Mandelkorn in August 1942. 3 years later, his military career over, Ben set out to find a job. His studies in social work were in the parole and probation fields, but professional opportunities in these areas were limited. As a result, Ben's attention was directed toward Jewish social work. In 1945, he became supervisor of the Dallas Jewish Social Service Bureau. 2 years later, Ben took a job in the Detroit Jewish Federation's Department of Planning and Budgeting. All the time he was learning and growing. So was his family. First came son Robert, and then daughter Judy.
Through his example as a role model, he instilled in us the ethics of hard work, of honesty, of caring.
He used to come home and just talk about his work and the things that he was doing, and he always talked about it with a sense of excitement.
In 1956, Ben's attention turned toward Ohio when he was invited to apply for the position of executive director of the Columbus Jewish Federation.
We interviewed various candidates. Ben was always direct, he was forthright, he came through with his opinions, and we felt that this was a proper step forward for the community to hire Ben.
We felt that he was the kind of a person that could do the job that Columbus needed, and he proved that to us.
With Ben in charge, the work was hard and the days were long, but the progress was enormous.
We gathered together talented and experienced group of committed top key lay leadership, and we had clearly defined goals and objectives for each year and for succeeding years. We built into it committees that weren't there before. We got volunteers involved. We met regularly.
Ben's greatest gift was identifying talented people in the lay community, recruiting them and working them to death. He had the greatest follow-through. He was the most persistent and is the most tenacious and resourceful professional that I've ever met.
We who worked with him learned to love him, for we had real admiration for what he was doing, and he did succeed in his goals, and this was what I think was so important.
During his 23 years with the Columbus Jewish Federation, Ben gave professional guidance in raising more than $43 million. He helped bring about the development of the College Avenue Community Campus, including Heritage House, the Esther C. Melton Community Services Building, and the Leo Yasinoff Jewish Center. He made major revisions in the methods and structure of the annual campaign, established areas of central service designed to save money for affiliated agencies, made the Federation a national model for other Jewish federations, and much more. While Ben had clearly become one of the most vital forces in the local Jewish community, he was becoming well known across the country. Among other things, he was a prime organizer of the Association of Jewish Community Organization Personnel.
Ben is the single most important force that took it from where it was in its starting stages to the point of development where it is now.
And then, after 23 years as head of the Federation, he retired with a big party. Except the party probably lasted longer than his retirement. And before these party photos could be developed, Ben was back at work. At age 65, he was starting a new career. This time as executive director of the Columbus Jewish Foundation, an organization in desperate need of some Mandelkorn guidance. And it got it. The board was strengthened, the bylaws improved, committees were formed, and new programs came into being. All of a sudden, thanks to Ben Mandelkorn, the community was very aware of the foundation, and its assets began to grow. And you pretty much know the rest of the story. A monumental success, written and directed by a man with remarkable dedication.
Ben is really committed to the day in and day out organization of the Jewish community.
Ben is a man of tireless energy, a man whose workday never seems to end.
7 days a week and plus evenings as well. And he's made one of the bedrooms into his study, and so he's there every night working. But he has tremendous drive and really a great commitment to the work.
I know no other way of doing something. Either you do it fully and with some compassion and commitment and with little let up, not only for yourself, but on the part of also the lay person, or else a project will not be successful. It's just my nature that when you take on a project, do your level best to see to it that it gets done.
The community owes Ben Mandelkorn so much. His work has touched us all.
Ben is a dynamo of energy. I think he has been fantastic for the Jewish community. I don't think the Federation or Foundation would have been anywhere near where it is today without the early leadership of Ben Mandelkorn.
Ben Mandelkorn is not someone who will be easily forgotten. What he accomplished here in Columbus during the last 34 years will benefit generation after generation. He will be remembered for what he did and for what he is.
Someone who felt keenly about his work and tried to demonstrate that in a very productive capacity, that he left behind him achievements which might perhaps not otherwise have seen the light of day, and that he left the place in which he lived a little bit better than when he came.